Nike does not sell you shoes, not in the conventional sense. In this video, I guarantee you that you'll be able to use this exact marketing tactic to shape how others view themselves, just like Nike does. For over 15 years, we at Pink Studios have worked with countless brands and companies, helping them do just that. We don't just market brands, but show the world exactly who they are and what they stand for. The thing is, most major brands are doing this secret trick already, but I guarantee you there is still time to learn this and take your place in the market. With that said, let's get into the video. Now, this tactic begins quietly for Nike in Oregon. In 1971, track coach Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight launched Nike. And although Bowerman's waffle iron sole was clever, the real invention was far deeper than that. You see, if Nike simply relied on its waffle soles, it would have definitely never beat its competition and fallen apart very easily 10 years later. The real factor that would cause Nike to win was in the soul of the brand itself. No pun intended. It was its name. Nike, or Nike in Greek, was named after the goddess of victory. That's the exact selling point of Nike. Not the inventions it makes, but what the brand encompasses, and by extension, what it makes you feel. Or more specifically, who it makes you feel like. It was a brand that doesn't reflect who you are, but who you want to become and the person you want to embody. This exact tactic was validated by self-congruity theory, which states that we move towards brands that align with our ideal self, not our current one. It's one thing to understand where you want your audience to believe they're going, but how do you actually implement that? In order to understand how to do this, we need to look at the marketplace right now, and the difference between the everyday brands that you might see on the streets from the greatest monopolies of the world. Smaller companies argue with facts, things like features, prices, and how they perform. These USPs, or unique service propositions, might be all you need to get to clients or consumers, but Nike takes it a step further, targeting the intellect and skipping all those previous facts entirely. It engineers symbols in a way that their brand reaches your mind unconsciously, and by the time the product reaches your attention, the emotional decision is already made. This is done and orchestrated by campaigns that are meant to hit your unconscious, repeating messages and symbols so that the purchase becomes just paperwork for an earlier commitment, a commitment to the identity you had already been sold on before. For example, the Just Do It campaign arrived in the 1980s. 3 words that function as a tool to be repeated over and over again, causing you to record that phrase within your mind without you even thinking of it. The more the phrase is repeated, although simple, you associate with Nike themselves, and you're already formulating who Nike is in your mind. Neuromarketing fMRI studies, like McClure's work on brand preference, shows that strong brands light up emotional and identity centers first. This happens before any sort of conscious evaluation begins. This information is vital and honestly extremely interesting because it shows us that the meaning and purpose exists before logic itself. This is a great example of emotionally priming consumers unconsciously, and it was only strengthened when Michael Jordan first signed with Nike. MJ Frozen in Flight became more than an endorsement or logo. What it did was give the consumer a better image of the greatness and victory that Nike wanted to make you think and feel. When campaigns over-explain, they take away the flexibility that you have to imbue your own story into the narrative, which can be very harmful. Leaving campaigns semantically open allows you or the consumer to complete the story yourself, which extenuates the ability to embody the identity that they're trying to sell you. And this goes for your brand as well. If you're trying to sell to another company, you have to let them complete the identity that you're trying to build for them. You cannot orchestrate it one-to-one. Once you make that brand inhabited by the consumer, your value becomes existent already within the collective unconscious. Now, what is the collective unconscious? The collective unconscious is a concept introduced by Carl Jung, refers to a deeper layer of the psyche shared by all humans, containing inherited archetypal image, instincts, and patterns of thought that influence our behavior, dreams, and perceptions without any conscious awareness. It acts as a universal reservoir of human experience, manifesting through symbols and myths that appear across cultures and throughout history. This relates with Nike because, for example, the public has already bought into them without thinking about it. And for any company, this is the most important part, not the actual sale. After the audience becomes adherent, building your brand or name only becomes easier. Limited drops, cultural moments like the Dream Team, and slow motion sweat and breath are some of the few repeated things that Nike uses to implement Zhejiang's mere exposure effect. Continuously getting your brand name or name out there is important so people believe they know who you are without even understanding that in the first place. With all that said, now you should understand how important something as simple as a logo is. The swoosh isn't a logo, but the symbol that keeps on reminding the audience who Nike is. It's all of discipline, ambition, resilience compressed into a single glyph. This is why you are influenced from Nike. It feels frictionless. You don't feel like you're being sold to or even advertised to because you already feel aligned with their brand identity. When you purchase Nike, it's self-authorship, and you are playing right into the narrative that they want you to embody. That is exactly how they orchestrate and not only control the narrative, but also your identity. While you might not think about these things when you are buying Nike or even believe that you are buying into these archetypal symbols that they have created, it is most certainly there. Because even if you don't feel like that resilient and disciplined person that they are trying to make you feel like, they are embodying that themselves, and your inner self craves a connection to that identity. Another show of how far brand identity goes when trying to reach out to your audience. When your brand starts selling others a permit to believe in a better version of themselves, your brand can achieve the same gravity and ability Nike possesses.